You know how the web relies on HTTP as the protocol. And hopefully one of the learning outcomes of this course that you really understand HTTP. And this protocol, as we've seen, is a very simple protocol. You have a verb followed by URL. You can either retrieve a resource or update it or create it. Now, by design, the way it has been designed, this protocol does not allow the server to remember anything from previous requests. So every request is new request. It does not remember. There is no mechanism to remember information from previous requests. So every request is independent from other requests, which is good. What is the advantage of this? Very good. Necessary memory in which side? On the server side. So the server side has easy life, gets a request, serves it, generates a response, and khalas, finish, and forgets about it, and moves on to another request. It does not keep any state. We call this things that you remember from previous conversations. In technical terms, we call it state. Okay? In social terms, we call it some other things. But in technical terms, we call it state. What is state?
It's like accumulated information about the previous conversations.
Excellent, yes. Let me show you a state in a real life, what it means. Okay, so here is Qatar Airways as an example. And basically in here, let's say I want to book some flight. Okay, so Eid is coming, so you want to, I'm not sure where we want to go. All right, so any destination?
Tunisia.
Tunisia, okay, sorry. Carthage, okay, very good. So, of course, you cannot escape until at least this time, okay? And, of course, you come to the last minute, just the day, 17th, even if there is something early in the morning of 18 will be even better. But anyway, let's keep it this way and search. Okay? Now, this first search is stateless. It will not remember anything. It will search, gives you the results, and then you will see what is there. Okay? Oh, it's very, very busy. And very scary prices as well. All right. So here, have a look. What this page is asking me now? To select the flight types I want, either economy or business, and sometimes here in some more popular destinations, you might have multiple times on the same date. So, of course, we will just go with this. It's good enough. I see. This is only departure. Very good. So we have a couple of choices. Very good. So we have a couple of choices. We have this one. It goes at 4 p.m. and this one at 7:15. Oh, it's very popular. Not very popular. Okay. So, okay, let's have a good like an early start. So we have selected this departure flight, and then have a look. We have to go next. What it will ask us now? Where is the?
This one. So it's actually there are no
Okay, I see. All right, so here it is. Sorry, like basically I had to select. So I had to select. Basically, I have to select the departure, and I had to select the return. Is now we are good to go? We continue. What the server did when I continued? It basically remembers what? What it should remember? The departure date and time, or maybe the flight number, to be more precise, because every departure and return, it has a flight number. So basically it knows which flights, the outbound flight and the inbound flight. So this is what we mean by state. State is not the fact that I clicked here, clicked there, or state is the pieces of information that are the results of this conversation. At the end of this first step, what the server get to know from us? The flights, the departure flight, and the return flight. Now that piece of information is called state. And as I continue conversing and to have some conversation with the server, it will keep building some pieces of information about this booking. So now what is asking me now? All right, let's see, add to booking price. Continue, no, sorry, it is continue. All right, so it will, here it will either ask me to log in if it knows me, or continue, I guess. Okay, let me log in. And basically it will bring some information about me, and then knows who I am. Okay, and then whatever. And then next, so it knows the departure flight, the return flight, and now what it knows? It knows the passenger. Okay, so it knows the passenger. Now next, what it want to ask now? Sorry? The contact details, it knows them. Yeah, it knows all of this stuff. This is not very important. They are in a hurry to tell me some other things. All right, this is, I have verified. Okay, no problem. Continue. Email. All right. All right, okay, so I'm ready to go next. So how many things it remembered so far? The departure flight, the return flight, the passenger details, emergency details, whatever, and then, yes, privilege, club number, what other information, and then what it's asking me now? Payment, okay, pay now. All right, all right, purchase. This is critical. It will still ask for some more information. Oh, no problem. That's fine. So what I mean here, up to now, we are almost ready. So it remembered all what I have gave it, and now almost I have to put the payment details. Hopefully, if they are nice enough, they will ask me to do one last confirmation, and then khalas, you book your ticket. So in here, this is basically a multi-step process. Every step, what the server needs to do? Yes, remember some pieces of information from that step. What do we call those pieces of information? State. Okay? So, does HTTP help us to keep that information from this conversation? No. So by design, they made it stateless. And you try to keep it stateless as much as you can, but in some cases you have no other choice but to keep some state. An example is this example, where you have a multi-step process to achieve certain use case. You can't just expect a user in one page to fill up all this information. It will be cumbersome and complex and not very good user experience. So you as a developer, you break it down into multiple steps. Okay, to be more easy for average users to handle. And that brings you the problem of state. How do you manage state? So now how do we manage this state? So where can we store it? How can we handle it? So what are the options, first of all, as designers or as developers? Very good, thank you. So we have three major options, and each one has its advantages and disadvantages and suitability. Okay, now here is session. One is session, another one is cookies, and the last one is the local storage. Okay, let's start with this one because you already kind of seen it. So what is the local storage? A little bit more general. Yes, you're right. This is one example of using it. So what is a local storage? Yes, so it keeps, yeah. Basically, it stores some name value pairs on the browser. So the browser has kind of a local database where you can store name value. You can store them locally. What is this name and value? It's up to you. It's application dependent. So it's something in the browser. So if I go to inspect and go to resources, so you see here one of the things the browser can do for you, you can store information. Luckily, this guy did not store anything. Sorry? Not password. No, you should never store password in there. We will explain, but that's good. No problem. Let me see. The local host, it has stored some stuff in here before, so I can show you. Here is the resources, local storage. And this is pieces of information that has been stored before. So local storage, you can think of it as a local database that can store names and values. There are other types of storage on the browser, but this is part of the 80%, we will not see it. This is enough, just name value pair. Okay, now, can we store like this example we just saw, the Qatar Airways example? Do you think local storage is a good idea? Why? Not just yes or no. Like, if yes, why? If no, why? Okay, yes. Okay. No, they are, in terms of size, they are still small. It's one little object. It has departure flight, return flight, the details, the passenger details, the credit, the payment information, the credit card information.
But doctor, this kind of information cannot be accessed from another place?
This is like from size point of view, there is no problem. I'm not sure this one can store. We have to look it up. We can ask Mr. Google. It will tell us what is the limit. But it's a couple of megabytes at least.
The nature of data, they shouldn't be stored in the browser.
Yeah. What is the nature of it?
Because there are sensitive data, so they shouldn't be on the browser side.
Okay. Very good.
They should
Yes.
be on the server side.
That is the idea. So technically, there is no restriction of storing this state on the local browser, on the local storage. But there are some other security reasons that makes it not a very good idea. Because you saw here, I just inspect and have a look. If somebody somehow taps into your machine, they can see everything. Your credit card information, your personal information, everything. Okay? So from security point of view, is it a good idea in this scenario? Not a good idea. Okay? If there was something not so critical, no problem. You can store it here. But when it is financial or personal, there is a risk, so you don't store it here. Not only this, even if let's say there is no risk, but sometimes there is a business reason not to store it here and to store it on the server. What does that mean? Why do you think Qatar Airways would be better off storing? Because if you store here, the server does not know anything about what you store here. Okay? It does not know your departure. It does not know your details until you submit. If you submit, of course, they will know. But if you don't submit and you change your mind, Qatar Airways, they missed the opportunity that they know where you go, so they will start sending you those emails. Tunisia is calling you. We have this 50% off this hotel, and this rental car is free if you book, and this stuff. Okay, you get what I mean. Send you, okay, you get this privilege club, 10,000 points. If they store this in here, they miss that opportunity. Because if you don't complete the transaction, they would not know what was your intention, where you're going. In here, even if you don't travel, Qatar Airways now knows that I have intention to go to Tunisia. Although I was just joking. But they already know, and they already put it in the profile, and in their marketing machine, they will consider this.
So obviously cookies or
Cookies is another game, so we will see. But are you following? So this option is very good technically. Technically is very, very excellent. Why is it technically very good? No, a little bit more convincing reason why technically it's very good to store these pieces of information we collected so far in the local storage.
no, to connect to the server to get this information.
Very good. More importantly, the server does not need to keep it. And so the server is more scalable. It can handle more load. By the way, session, which brings us, so technically this one is very sound, but business point of view, very bad idea. And from security point of view, very bad idea in this scenario. Are you following? Now, for example, here if you are storing your tasks, let's say your application, you want to store your memorization tasks, something not very critical. If even some people have access to it, they will just make dua for you. May Allah help him. That's all they can do. But if they find some personal information, it's not they might misuse it. You get the idea. So there are some scenarios where it is okay to do local storage. Other scenarios not okay. All right. Now, so the alternative here is to do it where? To keep Qatar Airways happy, and for you not to call them, or you because of your website somebody hacked my credit card. So for them to give you that security guarantees, and to give their marketing machine keep it happy, instead of using local storage, what you would use? Session. Okay. So what is a session? First of all, the session is on the server side. Very good. I heard it. So local storage is in the client side on the browser. Session is on the server side. So typically it is kept in memory. So in memory of the server, there is a place where we store this information. So if we have 10,000 customers booking, how many sessions we will have on the server? 10,000 sessions. 1 million customers at the same time, 1 million sessions. Okay, so that's why your server at certain stage it can hit its limit. So sessions, they have their advantages from business point of view and security point of view, but they can reduce your scalability, your ability to handle more requests. Okay, now, so basically a session is a mechanism, is a programming mechanism to store state for a particular client. So each client or each user coming to our website, they will have their own session. Because when I check out, I don't want to have the wrong, if the sessions are kind of, I can see other people's sessions, I might be checking out or paying for the wrong ticket and go into the wrong destination. Okay? So every user has their own session only visible to them and not to anybody else. You get the idea? Okay? So let's summarize. So what is a session? To store states. Thank you.
States,
Yeah.
For a specific client.
For specific clients. Excellent. Okay. So on the server side. Thank you. On the server side. So you can see here every client has its own session. Are you following?
Yes.
Every client has its own session. Now, when the client comes, how does it know? How the server knows this session belongs to this client? No, have a look at this. Here is the server. Here is the server, and here are sessions. Let's say there are like buckets or places. And there is session A for client A, session B for client B, session C for client C. And here are the clients. Client A, client B, and client C. So when client A comes, they will get information, they have access to this session. They cannot see this one. When B comes, they will get to their session. And when C comes to this session. Okay, very good idea. One way is to do the IP. So every client, when they come to the server, we know the IP address they are coming from. And we can use their IP to map them to their session. But you know, the IP, the problem with it, if I maybe restart my machine, or even from time to time, yeah, there will be dynamic IP allocation, and new IP will be created.
So, Aslan, if I close my machine, the session will be closed because
Not-
communication with the server.
No, not necessarily. This is a good point. By the way, typically session has some expiry time. Typically 20 minutes, half an hour. I'm sure you have seen it in Banner.
Yes.
When you open Banner, you log in, it will say you have 20 minutes. If you basically go and get your coffee, come back, you try to do something, khalas, your session expired, you have to start again. So even if you depend how it is implemented, but in most cases, even if you close your browser, come back, in some cases, I will explain what some cases means. You will get your session again without logging in again. Okay? Yes. So what I mean is the IP address is kind of a good idea, but not the best, because IP address keep changing.
مش الاي بي ادرس هلا يعني مثلا بالبيت رح يكون عندنا اكثر من اي بي ادرس بس ببين ما بيننا الانترنت رح يكون واحد بابليك وان.
No, your one that you are interacting with the server with is unique. So definitely the server address you are interacting with is known and the client address is known. So at particular interaction is one, but between subsequent interaction that IP could change. Are you following? At one particular interaction, of course, is one IP address. But between the time, in our case we just saw, between the time I selected the departure flight and the return flight, and the time I put my let's say payment details, my IP could have changed during that period. So IP is not very reliable. It could work in many cases, but it's not very reliable.
They cannot know the MAC address, which is the only.
No, there is a much better way. Look, if you want to change the world, think very simple. No MAC address, nothing. It's too complicated. Sorry? Username. Okay, so basically, just because of the time, here is the solution. The cookies, all right? Not the ones you take in breakfast, not those ones. This different type of, this is a technical concept. What does that mean? What is a cookie? Anyone? You have never seen cookies? Okay.
Like they kind of collect information about the visited site, and then they customize. Yeah, they customize your.
Yeah, that's one use case where you use cookies. Very good. It is used to customize the experience. So, for example, when you go to Google the first time, they might give you different languages. Maybe they will, because you are in the Middle East, they will give you Arabic, but they give you the option to choose English. So if you choose English, a cookie will be created on your web browser. Next time you come, they will give you English. They will not bother you with Arabic first. No, but that's different. That is not cookie. Okay. So let me tell you now. How does cookie play here? How does it fit in the picture? So when you come first time, when you went to Qatar Airways and started booking, a session was created for me on the server side, and that session has an ID. Have a look at this. That session has an identifier. So what the server does, the first time it creates session for me, it communicates it to the client using a cookie. Okay? So the first time, the ID will be communicated to the client as a cookie. And then from that time onwards, whenever the clients talk to the server, it attached this cookie to subsequent requests. So cookie is a name-value pair that is coming from the server, but when the browser visits the page again, that cookie will be attached to all future requests. Are you following? So let's see it. Let's see it in a concrete way, what it means. All right, so let me go to Google. No, let me show you. So here it is. So I go to inspect. By the way, I can just go here and say the cookies. Let me do it again. So let me go here and just go to this icon that's usually beside your URL. If you click there, one of the things you will see are the cookies that Google has stored on my machine. So if I open this, you will see Google has stored a couple of things. One of them is this NID. I don't know what it is. Some ID that Google is important for Google. So whenever I visit Google, this cookie will be attached to them, to attach the request. So let me remove it. Let me remove it. And let me just make sure. Okay, there are no cookies now. Let me go to network. Yes, network here. And let me go to that page again. Here is Google, all right? And I visit there. Here is the request. So there was some header, there was some reply came in. A reply came in, is 200 OK. And first the request went to this URL and using the verb get, and I got back a 200 OK. And the address where it went to, this is the Google address, the IP address. Now, this is the reply that came from them, that came back. Don't worry about all of this. This is what I'm interested in. The server, one of the headers of the response is called set cookie. So the server is asking the browser, please keep this information for me. This NID equal this value, this strange value, it doesn't matter. And it has an expiry date and time. It says on 31st of October 2016 at this time. Whenever I visit this page until this date, this cookie will be attached to the requests. Have a look at this. You get the idea of a cookie. It's a name-value pair. Have a look at it here. If I open it, here is the cookie. It's a name, value. It came from this domain, and it will only go to that domain. If I go to Amazon, this will not be attached to the request going to Amazon. And it came from the root, so it will go back. Whenever I visit google.com/nothing else, this will be attached. Okay? Or in fact, if I visit google.com, this will be attached. As long as the expiry is less than this. You get the idea. Have a look how it will be attached. It will be attached again as a header. So let me now refresh this page one more time. And let's look at the request, how the request looks like. Here is the requests. So the request is, it went to this URL, / using get. And you see here there is a header called cookie. It says, oh, this is what you gave me before, and it's still not expired. I'll give it to you back. All right? So that's what the concept of a cookie is a name-value pair stored on the browser, and then communicates back to from where it came from in subsequent requests. Only one, but you can have as many cookies as you wish. Okay? So, what is the difference between local storage and cookies? Okay, in the browser. All right. No, not both sides. Okay. Yes, it came from the server. It is stored on the browser. In terms of similarity, they are the same. Both of them stored on the browser. Okay. Local storage, yes, is not the server. Some information could be coming from the server, but it's not an order from the server to do it. Okay. It is some JavaScript on the client that took the responsibility of storing that information in the local host, in the local storage. What is the difference? You still didn't tell me the difference.
The multiple key values in the local storage.
Oh, cookies, you can have multiple by having multiple cookies.
So cookie is not by your choice. It's what happens naturally when you do a request in like HTTP request. You would be given this cookie.
Okay.
So whether you choose it or not, it's the way or the mechanism.
Okay, yes, kind of, yes. But but this is not the deep. This is not the fundamental difference.
It's coming from the server side. So يعني إنه stored عندي بس أصلا يعني السيرفر سايد بيعرف عني. يعني أما الستورج ما بيعرف السيرفر سايد ما بيعرف إنه مثلا.
Very good, very good. But more importantly, local storage is not accessible to the server. Local means local. It's not visible at all to the server side. The cookie is attached every time to subsequent requests. So cookies are always communicated back to the server, always. Are you following? So this is the major difference. Local storage, the information there is never communicated unless you have to write some program to read from the local storage and push to the server side. What about cookies? Do you have to do anything for them to be sent to the server side? They are auto-attached to subsequent requests. Are you following? All right, so let me just summarize. So we try as much as possible to keep our application stateless. Does the work, forgets about, doesn't remember anything. This is the ideal design. But in some cases, we have no choice but to keep some pieces of information that we call state. We have three options. One is local storage. Technically, it is excellent. Server still scalable. It does not need to worry about managing state. But it can have some security risks and some business missed opportunity. Okay, so yes.
In what way is it technically the best?
It is technically the best because basically you don't need to have a session on the server side to keep that information. So the server, because it does not keep anything, it can handle more requests. Simple, natural. Because remember, every session is taking some parts on memory. Memory is limited. Even if biggest server you have, at certain stage, you will run out of memory and get saturated if you have a large number of requests. But if you don't keep state, you have more chances of handling more requests. Simple as this. Okay? All right. Now, in some cases, although technically it's feasible to do it here, security and business don't allow us to do it, and we have to store the state on the server. And to store the state on the server, we have a mechanism called session. So what is a session?
To store a state on the server side.
On the server side, okay. And how does it work? So, no. Yeah, yes, like basically here, like every client has its own session, and you can store their names, equal values. When the session is created the first time, that session has an ID. How does the server communicates the session ID to the client? Using a cookie. So a cookie is again a piece of information that says here is your session ID, and here is the expiry time and date. Please browser, make sure you give me back my bida'ati, my cookie whenever you come back to visit me. Why do the browser needs to communicate back the session ID? Yes, so you can get access to your session. Okay, otherwise, khalas, you cannot access your session.
We said that the session lasts only for a limited time.
Very good, yes.
But the cookie is always sent.
Yes.
Even if I visit, now if
Yeah.
I will still have the same cookie ID اللي هو ال NID.
Yes.
But we don't have the same session.
Okay. Now,
No, the cookie is with the session.
but this is very good question. This is very good question. So cookies are not only used for session management. Okay. So this NID doesn't mean it's my session ID. It's something else. I'm not sure what Google are using it for. Okay. So you are absolutely right. The servers typically time out my sessions. Why the servers typically time out the sessions? A little bit more technical. They're like, yeah, well, it's to maintain scalability. Imagine you remember these sessions just for 1 week or for 1 month or for 1 year. That server will definitely crash. You get the idea. So imagine Banner never time out sessions and keeps those sessions all along since the Banner started until today. It doesn't make much sense, isn't it? The students will graduate, they will work, and they will retire, and the server is still holding on their session. It's just a waste of resources. Even if that server is rich enough and has a lot of resources, it's a waste. So that's why it says, okay, you have 20 minutes. If you are active, doing work, no problem, keep doing it. As soon as you go to get your coffee, if you are quick and come back, your session is still there. If you are late and you keep chatting along the way, you have to come back and log in again. And I give you new sessions. And by the way, everything that was in that session is gone. All right? Even Amazon, you think, oh, Amazon keeps your session all along. Not really. What they do, they will take that session and put it on disk. When you come back, because they are interested in keeping your session, just for you to buy from them, they will bring you back your session. But they don't keep it in memory. Okay? But by default, sessions are kept in memory. Why do we keep session in memory? Sorry? Yeah, I know, for saving the state. Of course, faster access. We know the user is coming in few seconds, coming back. If we put it on disk and bring it back, not harder in terms of performance. You have performance penalty because reading and writing to disk is the most expensive operation. So state is usually kept in memory. That's why it is very critical to manage it carefully. First, manage it carefully means only keep what you really need and keep it for a limited period of time. Is clear? All right. So let me now show you our own little examples. So let me go to the local host, 3000. And here I have a very simple form. All right. So I will here. Sorry, let me just go here because I have some cookies here. Let me just remove them. Remove this and remove this, just to show you what's going on. So let me just refresh this page, clear this one, and I will log in. So far, have a look. There are no cookies. Oh, there is. Because I refreshed. Yeah, I know. Every time I access that session, it creates one. Anyway, we're starting fresh. No cookies here. No cookies whatsoever. No cookies, just local storage. Okay. Now, I will log in, and basically on the server side, I will store the user object. I store it in session. Instead, you have seen how to store it in local storage, but maybe the user has some pieces of information, like for example, privileges, maybe some sensitive information. That's why I decided not to store it on the local storage, but to keep it on the server side. So what happens is when I log in, I will go to a file or database and say who you are and bring back a user object. And that user object will have a lot of information, and I will put it on the session. And then that session ID will be communicated back to the client as a cookie. Okay? So have a look at this. So I'll say I will log in. And if I go back here, You will see, hopefully. No, this is the response. Yes, thank you. Here it is. Here is the set cookie came from the server side. So by default, Node.js uses a connect.sid. It could be anything. By the way, you can rename this. You can call it session ID, SID, whatever. For the Node.js, by default, they will call that session ID this name, connect.sid, and this is an auto-generated ID. And it will say it expires. When does it expire? Tomorrow, 7:45. All right? That's it. Now, if I refresh this, have a look. Every time I go to that server, here is the request header, it has a cookie attached. You get the idea? It has a cookie attached. Now, on the server side, now let me show you how this is done. Very simple. Here is the /API/login. Imagine you will go to a server database. I didn't do that. I basically assumed you already logged in, and I just want to store the username in the session. This is how I store information in the session. So I'll go request.session. This is an object, and I'll say this is the name value pair, name, and give it a value. That's it. This will create a session. And for you to use session, you have to import this express session. So it's a library called express session, and then you basically here you say use, you say session. By the way, the session information and the cookie is encrypted using the encryption key is using this MySecret. It's string. You can put any encryption key. Don't worry about this. I can explain it later. In here, the cookie will expire in 1 day. You can change this. This is basically 4 hours times minutes times second times milliseconds. If you want 1 year, just put here 365. Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you. Yes, you can. You're right. Yes, but what I mean, this is customizable. You can customize it. You can also customize if you don't want that connect.sid. You can customize it here. All right. Okay. Now, when you come back to / I will go session request.session.username. If there is a username, means that you already logged in. We know who you are. So I will send you to admin. Otherwise, I will give you a login page. You see, this will always force you to log in. All right. Now, I will always do this in the admin. Whenever somebody goes to admin /admin, I will also check. If there is a username, I will welcome them and give them whatever they need to do and give them the option to log out. If they are not logged in,
They need to.
yes, I will tell them you need to log in first and give them the link to log in.
So they need to do the session to have the session.
Yes, yes. If there is no username in the session, means the user have not logged in yet. So this is the concept of a session. Now the concept of a cookie is not limited to managing this, to communicating the session ID. You can communicate anything to the client side using a cookie. So let me show you a small example of how to customize the page based on a cookie. So here is, I have here a little page here. I will call it hello. So the first time you come, you get a cookie. Have a look at this one. Yes, response, set cookie, access count is 1. So I am giving to the client a cookie, piece of information, name equal value, that the page knows how many times you came before to this URL. So first time, no problem. It is still nicely giving you this hello and this stuff. It's happy. Second time, also happy. Here is 2. It knows. Okay. Third time, it had enough of your visits. So what it will say, it changed the page. You see here, it's customized the page and says, okay, don't waste your time, don't come back, you had enough.
I think
Do something more
Facebook
useful.
should do this to us.
I think I will be submitting to this to Facebook. Also, I will add here one more thing. No extension to assignments. Okay. So you get the idea of a cookie. A cookie is not limited to the session ID. You can pass any information. And have a look in the client side. This is the last thing. I let you go. Here is the client side. In the client side, I say, please go to the document cookie, read the cookies associated with this page, and from there read one of the cookies is called access count. And if it's less than 3, I'll show the hala div. Else I show the no hala div, show it, and then I'll show you the number of visits. So here I am customizing the page based on the cookie value. Yes. So that's why when you visit pages, they put some pieces of information, either to customize the page or to track you, to track how many times you visited, or when you visited last, and so on. All right? That is the basic idea. That's it. I think there's one little small topic, maybe 10 minutes, I will do it inshallah next time, and then we will switch to Java, where we will do some of the work we have done, especially the services, using Java instead of Node.js. Java, the normal. No, it's not old. This is just for you to connect what you already learned with this course, all right? And then we will spend some time on security, like web security, and what are the major challenges and how to address them in practical way. Show you example of security issues and how they can be fixed. Okay, very good. Now, look, session, the server, you can configure the server to say, expire all sessions that are inactive after a certain period of time. Okay? Now the cookie, you as a developer, you decide how long you want to keep that piece of information you send into the client. Like for example, let's say if you choose a language, which language you prefer in a website, or for example, I'm sure some of you went to like airlines. When you go to airlines, they will ask you what language you prefer, what is your departure country. And from there, you have a tick. Do you want to remember this information? So when they will store that information as a cookie and maybe give it a very long time, 2, 3 years, 5 years, you decide. Yes. Yes, not the session ID. Yes. So cookies are not limited to session management. All right, thank you very much. I will see you next time. Please make sure your environment is working, fully working. If you have issues, post to Piazza, I will respond. And so you can take the most out of the live. All right, thank you.